Hello, everybody. Welcome to Paranormal Addicts Season 2, Episode 23. My guest today is Sean, and we'll start out like we always do. Sean, just introduce yourself to everybody, and then we will get rolling.
Hello, people. I'm Sean from the Paranormal Nut Podcast. I am one half of the whole that makes the nut. Jim's not with me, which is weird, very weird to see us apart. But he's got his kid, so paranormal investigator, paranormal podcaster. Been doing this since too long, probably 20. Really, I probably started in 2009 as like a 17-year-old kid. Really got up and running probably in like 2017, 2016, and then really took a hiatus. Got back at it 2 years ago, brought in Jim, and with me and Jim's help, we've been rolling, we've been steamballing, we've been traveling, we've been going, we've been making the podcast appearances. We are full bore.
So, we were talking off camera.
Yeah.
While we were buying time to get connected and everything. First of all, we had to fix our audio problems, but that happens. But we were talking about next year about us teaming up and doing some Kentucky things, including having you as part of the Paranormal Expo next year. And I was getting ready to say before we finally got live going, the one place. The top place on my bucket list that I have not been to is the Ditto House.
Yep.
I've not been there, and I'm ashamed of that. With me being from Kentucky, and of course with Ernie and Denise being friends, So I hate to say that. So Ernie and Denise are actually talking about not doing any investigations after this year. So we did. So let's do this. So Ken 10 Paranormal, which is my team, we'll team up with the Paranormal Nuts and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, we'll talk to Ernie and Denise and see if we can get in there before they close the doors. I kind of funnily told a lot of my friends and family, like, yeah, they're probably very easy to get in the Ditto House, but it's super hard to leave because Ernie and Denise are going to keep you there. They're going to feed you and they're going to, show you that nice Kentucky hospitality. Exactly. Yeah, they're great people. I would love to do it with you. Like I've said, if I'm, maybe we're still in negotiations, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to make the expo. We'll definitely do it together. That'd be great. Whether it's during the expo, after the expo, before the whatever, dude. Let's do it.
It sounds good. So I always start out with like 2 icebreaker questions just to get things flowing. The first one's a two-part. The first one's a two-part question. Two-part question.
That's cheating. That's 3 questions. Come on.
Kentucky math.
Yeah.
So the first one is: what is your favorite location that you've investigated, and what is your bucket list location?
You can't make me pick between my favorites. I was thinking, like, what are the questions he's gonna ask me? He's probably gonna throw out the favorite place. Everyone asks it. I don't know. It's hard because here's the thing. I love abandoned locations, except for the fact when it's cold or too hot. And there's no AC or there's no heating. So I've been to like the Saratoga Homestead. That was a great location. I loved it, but like it was cold. And it was raining and like there's holes in that ceiling. But I don't know. Between that, I mean, I've done Pennhurst, but during the con, I'd really love to get there during like an actual like maybe a bigger team investigation, but not during the convention when they had like 200 people running around. I don't know, but if you held, the metaphorical gun to my head, it's got to be Mid-Orange. It's for those of you who don't know, Mid-Orange Correctional Facility, downstate New York, and to Warwick. Get Haunted typically runs a event once a year there whenever they can. I don't know when their next one is or anything, but Mid-Orange would probably be my favorite, just because it's where I really first got to meet Rob and the Get Haunted family. we had met them in Gettysburg before, but it was in passing. Get to know you, nice to meet you. Let's talk. And then I had a few conversations with them. But getting to know them at Mid Orange, getting to like actually sit down and investigate with a bunch of people. That's Mid Orange. Probably just regardless of how haunted other places are, because I got to experience Mid Orange with a lot of different people that I've grown to really enjoy. It just holds that place in my heart. But yeah. So I'll go with Mid Orange.
Yeah, so that is a hard question. Everybody assumes it's always an easy question, but yeah. So my team, we still do residential investigations. Yep. So obviously, I got a lot of residential ones that I consider probably my favorite ones, but I don't say those because when it comes to a residential investigation, you're there to help the family. You're not there to, yeah. So I guess my favorite location is just because of how much stuff actually happened there would be a place that they don't even let you investigate anymore. It was called the Anderson Hotel. It was in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, and their claim was, their ghosts bite and stuff. And yeah,
I like that. The ghost. I want that on a shirt. Our ghosts bite.
I actually laughed at it too until I went up there, and then when I went up there, I actually experienced the ghost biting, and it didn't feel like a bite. It felt like an Indian burn, like a really deep Indian. But so you have to understand a couple of things. A couple of things you have to understand about the location. They want it to be violently haunted. So they have five verified suicide deaths there.
Oh, jeez.
And when I say verified, I don't take it lightly. I verify it through the coroner's report. I verify it through the police report, and I verify it through the newspaper. So when I say verified, I say verified. And for anybody that's trying to watch us, what's to have problems connecting with Get Haunted? So
I was trying to share it on my end. I was going to share it out. I couldn't find it, but I guess we're having connection issues.
Yeah, we're connected. We're connected on YouTube, but we're having problems with.
Okay, I can.
We're having problems with Get Haunted, so I don't. But yeah, so when they take you to the tour of the place, like you do at all the locations, they still have the 5 verified deaths there. They still have 3 of the bloodstained mattresses.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Then they have a bloodstained bathtub, and then they have the 5th room, which is probably the most. There's 2 rooms that are really known, so it's probably either the most known or the second most known, and the guy lived there, So it's called a hotel, but it's a transit hotel. It's not like we're not talking about like the Hilton or the Ramada or even the Days Inn or even a Motel 6. We're talking about a transit hotel. So this guy lived there, and And what I like to say to people. What I like to say to people when it comes to like a malicious spirit, if you were a dickhead when you were alive, you're going to be a dickhead when you're dead. So
I say that all the time. That's what I say. I get into it because people are talking about when spirits are, when they're mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're evil. It could mean that they're just essentially an asshole person, and trust me, I know how to deal with asshole peoples. And so anytime a ghost gets slightly uppity with me. I tend to, bring it down to reality. I'm like, hey, listen, guy, you're not that big. You can't do anything to me. Relax,
Exactly.
Especially I got Big Jim behind me, and he's 6'3", so, I can say those things.
Yeah. So that's what this guy was. He drunk himself to the point that he hung himself in the closet. So all of his liquor bottles are still there, and they encourage you to bring another. Well, I didn't bring another one because to me that's provoking. But not only was he an alcoholic and he hung himself there, he also ran prostitutes in and out of the hotel. So he was just a dickhead. So
it was just the worst type of person.
yeah. So actually, the best EVP I've ever got, and I still have it. I've been investigating for 32 years. So the best EVP I've ever got was there, and my niece is on my team. And when we investigated it, she was 19. So when she went upstairs, she decided to use the prostitute angle as her way of getting the conversation started. So she goes up there and she's like, "I'm 19 and cute. Can I get a job?" So
yeah.
So the response that we got was $50 and free room. Just like
that's
that.
Crazy. That's very intelligent. You're legit negotiating. That might be a legal contract. You might have to double check with your niece. Make sure she's not in legal trouble at this point. For legal reasons, that story's fake.
And then, like I said, I've been doing this for 32 years, over 500 investigations, and that's the only investigation that I've ever left early. And the reason I left is because the spirit, the one that ran prostitutes out there, grabbed my team leader by her private area.
Oh, yeah. Anytime they start get grabby or pokey, you got to be very careful.
Yeah. So once we found out his name was John, once John grabbed Tiffany by her, we decided it was time to leave. And but
that was smart.
As far as the bite goes, so the first room we get to, there is a bathtub, and the bathtub has a blood stain on it, and the blood stain came from a 35-year-old mother who checked into the hotel to commit suicide. She committed suicide.
Oh, the worst.
She committed suicide there because her husband and her son had just got killed in a mining accident, and that was her reaction to it. So her blood stain's still there, and it's one of the old-fashioned bathtubs, like the crawl feet, the deep one. So my way of investigating is I'm a very respectful investigator. I talk to the spirits just like I'm talking to you. I just talk to them. So we get in there, and this is before we broke up into teams. And I asked if I can get in the bathtub, and my response is yes and no. Well, obviously I can't do both, so I go ahead and get in. And we're running the EVP session. We were using the Paratech VM5. We were using we were using the Echo box. We were using voice recorder.
What's the Echo box?
It's the one by Go Scare. It's a yes/no device.
Oh, yes/no. I just call it the yes/no box. That's why. Okay, yeah.
With Drake, it's a very good device. But you have to remember that it's Dave Schroeder's voice on there, because if you forget about it at like 2 o'clock in the morning in an empty house and you hear Dave Schroeder say, and it becomes so yeah. But the best place I've used that at was actually for my birthday. We went to the Moreau House up in Indiana, and we used. But let me finish this story, then we'll go on. So I'm in the bathtub and I'm running an EVP session. Like I said, voice recorder, Apple box, VM5, video camera, and so my rule is if a spirit tells me to leave, I don't leave immediately. I'll leave the third time you tell me to. So. At least the room.
That is good. You can never take one incident or one piece of activity and kind of put 100% faith in that. I am a stickler when it comes to redundancy. Like, okay, can you ring that bell? Can you do that again? Now, can you do it on 1, 2, 3? Right? Like, I'm not going to be like, I don't know. There are people out there, and obviously there are people who are doing more experiential. They're just having fun. But for me, when I'm trying to really get down to what's going on here, right? You're just sitting there like you said, tell me 3 times and I'll do it. Like that, to me, that's the same type of investigation attitude I go into investigation as well.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I like to have that confirmation. So I'm the same way. If I hear the bell ring once, I'm the same way. Okay, can you do it again? I like to have, that's the reason I had like the Apple box and the Paratech is because, the Apple box is just yes or no, and of course the VM5 is more than that. So if I get a yes on the Apple box and then I get something similar on the VM5, then I might have something. Then it's not
not just one device, double device redundancy or multiple device redundancy. Kind of what me and Jim kind of colloquially call it amongst ourselves. Yeah.
So I'm in the bathtub and I get the third get out. So I start to get out of the bathtub, and like I said, it's the old-fashioned bathtub. So I'm gonna have to lift myself out, and as I lift myself out on my calf, I feel what feels like a really deep Indian burn.
Yeah.
And so when we get back to our makeshift base, when we have electricity, we go to look, and then I have what looks like a double bite, and so that was like odd, and I actually got a tattoo of it. Let me see if I can show it on the camera.
Wow, that's cool. That's interesting. Yeah. I like that. Getting a tattoo of like a mark. That's fun.
Yeah, and I got it over while the mark was still fresh. I got it over the mark, so it's an exact. Now we got to readjust the camera. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently we're not going to connect to. We'll just have to have Rob and Sarah replay it on Get On It.
Yeah, to do a replay on a different hour, upload the VOD. Do something like that. But, I mean, we don't need people. I think both of us are very similar. We just talk. Like, we can't... And that's why we have podcasts, because we just... So even if people were coming in and trying to, ask questions, we're going 1,000 miles. They can't keep up,
Right. Yeah. And my bucket list location, I've already said, Ditto. The Ditto house is my number 1. But number 2 is Penhurst. I want to investigate Penhurst.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't mention my bucket list. I want to go to the Winchester house, right? Like it's like a fun house. It's like a maze, right?
It is.
So I want to go out there. I know a couple people started doing investigations and events out there too, but I mean that and the Queen Anne. So I need to get out. I need to get out to California apparently. So
I want to go to Alcatraz.
Alcatraz would be, aren't they like, I don't know, not to get political, aren't they trying to reopen it as like an actual prison or something? I thought I remember hearing something, but I don't know if that was ever official or not, so.
Who knows?
Yeah. I think it's a bad idea, but I would love to investigate it beforehand.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is, everybody always thinks of Penhurst, they always think of Alcatraz as just the prison, but you have history before that. There was a whole Native American colony there. And anytime you have Native Americans, you have paranormal activity. It's just the way it is.
Well, yeah, that's what people like. Even when the Northeast or just the East Coast in general, we have a lot of our buildings that are very historic. But what's 300 years? To people who have been living there for 10,000 years, right? So much history, you can't. Jokingly in the Northeast, you can't build a building without double checking and making sure this wasn't like a ritual site of some type to somebody in the past. And I mean, I don't really tell people this a lot, but I live in New York, upstate New York. We had various Indians, Native Americans, whatever they prefer these days, tribes living in the area. And there's like the Mohawk was, I think, the ones mainly around here, that and the Shenandoah Indians and stuff like that. And I swear, I live out by the woods. Sometimes you like 2-3 a.m. you hear what you think is like drumming and like maybe some rustling, maybe a call or two, and you're like, for a fact that there's no one in those woods. I'm like, but there's definitely noise coming out of those woods. So and obviously in Kentucky, it's so much right there, Appalachia. I know the Penn Royale area or whatever they call it, Penny Royal. I know that area has so much history, and not just paranormal history. Well, yes, paranormal, but like government conspiracies with all the various caves you have there. Oh, if you want to find yourself in a rabbit hole, start looking into who owns a lot of those caves and the land around like in Kentucky. It's interesting.
So I found out why we're having trouble connected to Get Haunted today. Robin Sarah's live today.
Yeah, I think I heard something. I think they're announcing something very important. So when
we'll catch the announcement later.
No, we're going on protest. Our show's more important. Strike, take down, Get Haunted. We'll get a lot of people in here if we start saying that stuff. Bring them down. But yeah, no, I mean that's the nature of the beast, especially. That's why I always my show's kind of on hiatus while Jim's having his child, but we would always stream to our Facebook page as well as Get Haunted, just in case there was any interference. Like we could, I don't know if you have the destination, I don't know if you have the slots, because I know StreamYards is annoying these days, but I would have set up your StreamYard for your own personal page as well.
I haven't yet, but I need to, because obviously I have a personal page, but so far, as of right now, it's just Get Haunted and my YouTube. But I need to go ahead and add the Paranormal Addicts page too. So
yeah, and not to knock Get Haunted, but Get Haunted is Get Haunted, and you want to be Paranormal Addicts presented by the Get Haunted Paranormal podcast program, right? Like I think that's how. You gotta understand it's your responsibility and your show, and you need to be out there and putting it out regardless of what any network is doing. I love Rob and Sarah, but Rob and Sarah, like they said, they have a special super announcement, apparently a huge one, and I'm kind of like, what's going on? I got to see what's happening.
Me too.
But we're in our show, and I'm like, I don't know, and they're going long. I think they're going our entire length as well, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I can't wait to see what the announcement is either, because apparently Russ Shriver said it's life-changing. So we'll see how life-changing it is.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there have been things happening in the paranormal community. I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions, but buildings are changing hands, and there are people who know people. So I think I might know what it is, but I would never speculate. Because, obviously I'm not a Get Haunted mouthpiece, and I don't want to put out false information. Unless we want to make this show go viral, maybe I'll just start making stuff up. Do you want to do that? Get Haunted buys the Queen Anne. Like, I don't know. That would be interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean they made the relatively big announcement last week about extending out to the Midwest.
Yeah, with Chris. I mean, I've talked. Have you met Chris?
I have not. I've talked to him.
Yeah, I met him at Mid Orange. Yeah, great guy.
So I'm kind of in the same boat as Ernie and Denise. We're kind of like the black sheep because we're way down here in Kentucky. We're so.
You say that. there's more paranormal activity in like a block of Kentucky than there is in like any other state I've been to, and it's just like what?
Kentucky is actually, whoever rates the state, is considered the second most haunted state.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go with Connecticut is the most haunted, and obviously I think that's mostly associated with the age of Connecticut being obviously part of the 13 colonies. I mean, all the other colonies were too, but that, and I think they get the notoriousness just because Ed and Lorraine obviously have the paranormal museum there, and not to put the cart before the horse, but yeah, I don't know. I shouldn't say anything. I don't know anything. I know nothing, people. I mean, if they're watching this, they're already, they've already probably made the announcement.
Yeah. This is my thing to Robin, sir. I mean, I don't know how much you know about my background or anything. So I lost 3 years of pretty much everything, including paranormal investigating, because I had to have brain and spine surgery.
Oh, so, I did not know that. That had been an amazing challenge to get through.
Yeah. So when I decided, and I used to do a lot more of like the shows and stuff than I do now, but when I came back from the brain surgery, it was brain and spine surgery. I was actually worried that I lost everything. I was starting fresh from everything, so I decided to do the podcast, and I reached out to Sarah because that's when they were first looking for people for the podcast.
Yeah.
So I reached out to Sarah and said I would like to try it. Try to be part of that. So I really credit them with giving me my voice back. Making me making me feel like I'm part of the community again. That's the reason. Through all the negativity and all that stuff, I completely suck with Rob and Sarah. I love Rob and Sarah. Yeah. I've never actually met them, but there
he is. Jim's in chat now. We got him. Jim, Get Haunted is blacklisting us because they're making an announcement. That's why we're not on Facebook. We've been blacklisted. I want you to go in their chat. I want you to complain. Be like, this is Paranormal Addicts show time. No, but
don't do that.
No.
Don't.
Yeah, don't do that, Jim. We would never want you to do that. No, they got some important stuff going on. But yeah, so
but I'm actually going to meet everybody because I'm actually going to be part of Rock Island. So I'm going to Rock Island. I'm like 50-50. I want to go, but I'm like kind of in a weird spot right now where I don't know. Yeah, you call Rob right now while he's live. Do it. Tell him I said hi. So I'm going. I thought about backing out of it. I committed. Yeah. I committed at the very beginning. When they started looking for people this year, I committed at the very beginning. Yeah. But it's the weekend after mine. So I have mine, and then I have to go. Then Rock Island right after.
Do you get in these like convention cycles? And I'm just like, I've dipped my toe, but like if you go for full bore, especially for for paranormal conventions, they run late summer all the way till like the beginning of winter, and I'm like, that's prime filming time for me. So I can't be like, because I'm doing my investigation and making my YouTube videos. It's like, it's very hard to get me at a convention when I could be investigating a haunted location that weekend, right? So that's why I'm like, I want to do a con. I want to do cons here and there, but I can't really get into it. But Jim, we might be featured at a convention next year. So I'll tell you the deets on that later. So pack your stuff. We're going to Kentucky.
So my team actually has the opportunity we're actually submitting to be on TV. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say the network yet because they might fire me. But
yeah, you don't want to say things, and I've done it once or twice where you're like, "This is happening," and then like everything gets ruined and backed out, and then it's like, "Well, I'm sorry, I don't want to get people's hopes up." But I've been in situations where I've talked with TV execs, producers, and things like that. A lot of that time, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors, and what it is half the time they. Oh yeah, we were kind of talking about that earlier, Jim. That the Warrens Museum being bought by Overnight, Elton and Matt Rife. I've been watching Overnight. Overnight kind of almost got me re back into paranormal.
And I know Matt's a big paranormal fan. So
So while he was before people really knew him as a comedian, he was still being a comedian, but he was known for being on that. So Elton there has the it's the F It list. That's kind of his own brand, and then they kind of started ghost hunting as Overnight, and Matt Rife was a part of that, and then people started realizing how funny he was at his shows, and he got bigger off of that. So he's not even there half the time, but. That's very interesting. Now, see, Jim derailed us. What were we talking about? But like studio execs, producers, and stuff like that, and like half the time they don't even have like the okay to do all this stuff, and that they're trying to get everyone else to Overnight. Everyone else to say yes, so they can go look how many people I have involved already, and then they get it from like the financier or whatever. So it's always like me and Jim. We were early on in our podcast days. Someone saw us and like, you guys have something here, and we want to make you a part of a thing we're doing. And then it kind of went from 0 to 0, 100 to 0 real fast. So
yeah, well, I mean, and that's kind of how I got on the Scare Network. That's how they picked up the podcast. Yeah. So I happened to be at Smoky Mountain Terror this week, this year, and I got invited because
is that where you were during?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember because I think you said "Oh, I'm sorry, couldn't be there, guys. I'm over." Yeah, that's why I thought you were in Iowa because you were in that convention or the Iowa. I don't know. After Kansas, the map kind of gets blurred for me. I'm a New Yorker. Right. I don't care about the flyover states.
right. Yeah. So the way I got invited to Smoky Mountain Terror is because I'm good friends with Jimmy Ricker from Outlaw Paranormal.
Okay.
So Jimmy Ricker is actually my headliner at my expo this year.
Nice.
I got Jimmy Ricker and I got Josh Morris. They're my two big names. So he got.
Well, you might have a bigger name coming next year.
That's right. well, my headliner last year was Aaron G. Thompson. Aaron G. Thompson was my big
okay. They're kind of cool. No, I'm sorry. They're no paranormal nuts, Sean and Jim.
Right. So my booth happened to be right. So Outlaw Paranormal, they're part of this. They're part of the Scare Network. So Jimmy's table was here, and then Scare Network's table was here. Then my table was here. So I actually did the podcast. I actually went live from the Smoky Mountain Terror 2 times, and while I was live, Billy came up to me and he's like, I need new content. He's like, why don't you come be on the thing? So That's how it started. It took a while, and I've officially signed my contract, but I've been sick. So I haven't actually started uploading anything yet.
Yeah.
So that I hope to get that done this week. I really want to get. I want to make sure I get my first episode of this season up soon, because my first guest this season was Dan Riviere.
Oh, yeah. I mean, any content with him, it's going to be emotional, but it's going to be worth seeing. You know.
So I never had the privilege to meet Dan face to face, but I consider him
Yeah.
a good friend. Why? Because I talk to him on the phone every week.
Yeah.
We were actually making plans to because I was finally going to get to meet him at Rock Island, but we were actually making tentative plans for him to bring Annabelle to my convention next year.
Ah.
So the last time I talked to him, I was actually grocery shopping.
Mm-hmm.
We carried on a 45-minute conversation at the grocery store, and we talked about everything. It wasn't just paranormal. We talked about our time in the military. We talked about classic horrors. He was definitely one of the good guys.
Were you Navy?
Army.
Oh, I just thought you were cool. That's all.
I was a combat medic, so I was cool.
Okay, fine. Medics get a pass. Fine. Now, me and Jim are both Navy. He was aircraft carrier, I was submarine, so.
That's cool. My grandfather was a Navy during World War II.
Oh, so like real Navy.
Yeah. Only man to go AWOL in the middle of the ocean, and it's documented.
Oh, what? Oh, what, did he fall overboard and like they didn't know, so they like called him like.
Okay, so my granddad, you have to understand quite a bit about my granddad. My granddad passed away about 8 years ago, but my granddad is a local legend. He was chief of police, the most highly decorated officer in the history of Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
And so, but in that time, he was part of the Depression era. So he got separated from his family. His parents died or whatever, and but none of the family could raise all the kids. So Uncle Sammy went with his actual family, and Granddad got sent to Kentucky. So when they both joined the Navy during World War II, well, the boats were passing outside of Guam. They were part of the Pacific Theater. So
Guam.
Yeah. So my granddad asked permission to go see Sammy because their boats were passing, and his CEO said no. So he jumped overboard and went to see.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So they asked him how long he got to see Uncle Sammy, and he said about 4 hours. They asked him how long he had to spend in the brig. He said about 4 hours. So.
Hey, 1 for 1. Take that.
And he always said that was the only story he could actually tell from his time in the Navy, because the rest.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
He said the rest would be censored. So. So let's talk a little bit about. We kind of talked a little bit about it earlier. This is a question I ask a lot on my show, but only for people I actually want their opinion. So,
ooh, so feel good now.
So as we know, there's been a lot of drama in the paranormal field lately. So
drama? What? I'm not picking up on that. Are you saying that people are mad at each other or something?
Yeah, I'm saying there's a lot of drama. So let me backtrack first and ask you this question. So let's talk a little bit about the parapop culture. That's my word, parapop culture. You can use it if you want. I like that word, parapop culture.
That's a good word. I like that.
You can use it. You got my permission.
All right, nice.
So in the parapop culture, and I guess technically we're part of that too. But I still consider myself an outsider. But so in the parapop culture, how do you think the parapop culture has helped the paranormal field, and how do you think it has hurt the paranormal field?
Yeah, this is it is a big question, and to give you an answer that would like solve everything and get everyone to shake hands and be buddy would be super hard, but I can do it because I'm just that good, right? So, the end of the day, right? Nobody has any right to to tell anyone else what they should or shouldn't be putting out on their like pop culture video, like their YouTube, their their Instagram, their TikToks and stuff like that. Now, let me rephrase that. They have every right to do so, but it doesn't matter, right? The most important opinion about like my content is mine and Jim's opinion about our content. We want to put out what we want to put out, right? Now, there are some people who might go, you can't use, the D word. You can't say demon or something, right? Like, I personally don't really use demon unless I legitimately think something's there. But some people, that's how they relate to these things, right? Also, algorithmically, people who are making money and living and feeding their kids, they literally have to say demon in their videos to get clicks. So I kind of get where a lot of these people come from, where clickbait feeds creators. You don't and a lot of people go out of their way and say, oh, clickbait is bad, and, you're just trying to make entertainment. And it's like, yeah, I'm trying to entertain you. Now, you can try to make a bigger distinction between paranormal entertainers and paranormal investigators, but it's not a binary thing. It's a sliding scale. It's very nuanced, right? I think me and Jim do a very good job of being very integral investigators, but also me and Jim try to be entertaining in our videos, because if I'm not I want you to watch me, right? So I have to make something entertaining. And that being said, if you're spreading misinformation, okay, I think ultimately you will get what comes to you, as far as people will start realizing you're unauthentic and you're just making stuff up and you're being exploitative, right? But there will always be people who will be exploitative. There will always be people who want to take advantage of every single situation. Right. That exists. Now, we can complain about it, or we can rise above it and just make better content, right? I see it a lot, and I see it in other fields. And this is how other fields, pseudo-archaeology, and actual archaeologists, right? And coming from a paranormal field, I kind of side with the pseudo archaeologist, and they don't even use that term, right? So, but you have these people who are kind of outside the establishment of science, and they're giving their opinion, and they were really good at entertaining people, and so they controlled the narrative for a long time, until a lot of these archaeologists, the next generation of archaeologists who understand how to entertain and educate, came along. And those people, while entertaining, also educated, put those other people to shame. And I think that's what needs to happen in the paranormal field, right? The people, the grifters, if you will, and I don't like to even call people grifters, but the grifters in the field will always be the first people to catch your attention. And then everyone else plays catch up, right? So you're going to see all the people exploiting, Annabelle every 2 seconds, exploiting anything that has to do with the Paranormal Research Center, right? Even though they know no one a part of that. But what we need is paranormal investigators that are authentic, good, and entertaining. We need to educate and entertain. And I think you see a lot of good people out there, our good friends Paranormal Theory. I mean, actually, I hate Paranormal Theory. They're horrible. Let's start drama. Let's get them kicked off of social media. No. I love Ryan. He's actually doing a hunt with me later. But, there's us, me and Jim. I think me and Jim are kind of playing a good role where we are, being entertaining, and we're showing how you can do a paranormal investigation without this kind of, over sensationalized. Obviously in the paranormal, things happen. Interesting things happen. And when interesting things happen, you get interesting reactions from me and Jim. But we're not going to oversell a knock. We're not going to oversell a one dead bell going off, right? So we as a community, who will rise up and kind of you'll start seeing their content more and more is the people who are authentic and entertaining. So right now we have a lot of entertaining people out there, and a lot of the authentic people out there are complaining like, my content's legit, it's real. And I'm like, good, do it. If you're doing it for clicks, you're gonna like drive yourself crazy because you're never going to get them because you don't know how to work the algorithm and you don't know how to bring people's eyes in. And to be fair, no one naturally knows that. You have to learn those skills. So if you are authentic, yeah, go ahead.
It's like, for example, when I'm videoing an investigation, I use the spirit box, like the portal box. I use the portal box because it looks good on TV. Is it better than the spirit box? Probably not, but it looks better on TV. When I'm videoing for YouTube, we do the Estes method. Am I a big believer in the Estes method? No, but it looks good on TV. So,
but yeah, and you don't even have to be that compromising. Like, and me and Jim always caveat, like, I'll use the apps, and I'll always caveat, like, listen, these apps, I don't 100% trust them, but I've seen people I know like them, they trust them. Jim loves the apps, so there's that kind of, we'll use the apps, but I want to also do other things, and I'll always make everything completely transparent. That's the thing, I think how we solve paranormal drama is we have authentic, entertaining people spreading the good message of what's actually going on. And I think Get Haunted, how many shows? I love Ghostbox Radio. You can Haunted Faith, right? And Empty Casket. Haunted Casket is their, like, all these people, all these great creators out there. And as we learn to make better content and get more eyes on our content, more people will see the actual truth. But we have to make the truth entertaining. Right. That's just the reality of the matter of the fact. So.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. So I had Rob and Sarah on here last year, and Sarah, we were discussing this same thing, and Sarah made a point that still sticks with me today. What you have the people screaming, "Oh, so and so's fake," but I don't want views and whatever. So the bottom line is the people who tune in to view, like Sam and Kobe. Yeah. Those ain't the same people that's going to tune in to view me. Yeah. They're tuning in to be entertained. They're not tuning in to see what it's really like. My thing is, I have no problem with that. I will fully support anybody. I will help anybody until you start faking stuff or you start making it harder on me. And then and if you, not necessarily me, but on the field. So, when I call out somebody, it's going to be because they personally did something to make the field worse. Like, for example, the people I just mentioned, eventually they'll probably sue me. So I'm not going to mention their name again. But the people
they're not going to sue you. Who cares? Like, what are they going to come after? Like. See, the thing is, the best thing they could do to you is sue you because that would generate so much attention. And that's, honestly, right, it's about the conversation, right? You have these people who are, a lot of people are saying that they're faking stuff. Okay, show me that you're not faking things. And I think they come out with a few videos where, like, we're not doing this, this is what's going on. But then you see a lot of people counterplay, and this is how all of cultural conversations happen. You get the people out there that go, like, I love debunkers. Debunkers are my favorite people. Because if they make it entertaining, they can call people on their, their stuff, But when a debunker ultimately starts, like, there has not been one debunker who's come to us and, like, said, oh, I'm going to tear down Paranormal Nut. And I think that's one of two reasons. one, we only get a couple hundred views. Two, is there's nothing to debunk about me and Jim. Half the time, like something happens, me and Jim are like trying to debunk it. But there are, just as there are grifter entertainers, there are grifter debunkers, right? There's just as many bad people in every single field of every single thing that ever exists. Right. So it's keep the conversation open, keep talking about it, because as we talk about it, more people hear about it, and that feeds into the narrative of the conversation. And the conversation grows, bubble pops, we all get famous. It's great.
So here's my problem with Sam and Kobe. So I investigated 3 locations last year.
Yeah.
One of them was Harriman Hospital. One of them was Octagon Hall. And I'm not going to mention the other one because they asked me not to. But so these 3 locations. So we get there, and we sign the waiver that we always have to sign. The book. So when we get to both locations have added a new page, and they tell you it's specifically because of Sam and Kobe. I mean, they called their name out. Specifically.
I know the location you're talking about now. Yeah, that you won't mention. And that's the thing, right? It's people calling people on their BS. Yeah. And that's what we need. That's But you need to do it in an entertaining way. If you just make a Facebook comment or a Facebook post, let's be real. So 5 people that always... Yeah, go ahead.
Here's my entertainment value, okay?
Yeah.
So Sam and Kobe are the Spice Girls of the paranormal field.
I love the Spice Girls.
So tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
Exactly. I'm more of an icy... Actually, I know nothing about... You got me in a lie. I know nothing about the Spice Girls. Mean Spice is my favorite spice.
I like a little Cuban myself.
Yeah, so, it is, I love, there's a thing, I think, ultimately, we also have to trust the audience to know that these things aren't the same thing. Yeah. And I think most of them do. And you can't be mad that the audience wants to watch Sam and Kobe opposed to Paranormal Nut because...
Sam and Kobe's young. They're good looking. They're entertaining, and that's what they are.
Well, Ken, you could have good form there yourself. I don't mind saying.
So, but that's the thing. And that's the reason. Besides not being able to release my videos or go live on location.
Yeah. Jim's opinions differ from mine, but they are still the. See, this is how we get away with it, right? I can say one thing, and Jim can say one thing, and they're completely opposite things, but they're both the opinion of Paranormal Nut. So we can do whatever we want. We're scot free.
you know how I get away with it? I got a disclaimer at the beginning of my show.
We don't disclaim things. We're not cowards. We stand by what we say. Robin, sir, make me have it. Yeah. So I guess we used to have it at the. Well, no, it says the disclaimer is is the opinions of you and not Get Haunted, which I will always say. I don't speak for Get Haunted. I speak for Paranormal Nut. Jim also speaks for Paranormal Nut.
It says the opinions are not that of the yes, the whole. I don't know what it says, but anyway, anybody that wants to sue me, I have a lawyer. Come on.
Yeah. Listen, right?
But so okay, so
yeah, Jim's gonna sue you.
So we have. So we talked a little bit about parapop culture. So and parapop culture is not all bad. I mean, so to me,
it's as bad as anything is bad, right?
Right.
That's the universe we live in.
Right. So me growing up. I was born with these gifts. I'm a medium, whatever you want. So I was born with the ability. I've always been able to see and communicate. And growing up here in Western Kentucky, which is not only the Bible Belt, it's the capital of the Bible Belt. We have a church in every corner. I think we have more churches than we have people. So growing up, I used to get a whole bunch of you're a tool of the devil, you're going to hell, and all that stuff when we talked about my guests. Thanks to the pop culture, I still get some of that, but I also get like, oh, you mean like ghost hunters or ghost adventurers or so forth and so on. So to me, that's the positive. At least there's more communication now. There's more knowledge. So okay. So now let's talk about the drama. You ready to talk about drama?
I still don't know about any drama. No. Yeah, drama's the same for me, right? It's the same as para-pop culture, right? The drama is about pop culture. And, I mean, there's other things, right? There is misinformation, which there will always be. There is... do you have something specific you wanted to bring up? So I didn't mean to, take the reins of the conversation.
No, you're good. But I will say this. I'll say this, and then you can go off and say whatever you want to. So back to Sarah, because when she was on the show, I asked them the same question. So I asked them why they thought we had drama and what we need to do to go back to, para-pop culture, whatever term, para-unity, So, but Sarah said she thinks the main problem, and of course her opinion might have changed by now too, but back then she said that.
That's it. Yeah.
Me too. So Sarah said she thinks a lot of the reason why a lot of drama is caused by some people think that they should be high up on the totem pole. Other people are getting more likes, more whatever, and people think that they're more special than they are. And
see, and the main thing about that is like. And, I'm speaking from the heart here. I think I should be at the very top, and therefore I am. That's just it. No, I'm sorry. I'm making jokes of it, but, there will always be egos. Why para-unities kind of have failed, and because ultimately there's so many people in the paranormal field which is great, because we want everyone's opinions. But you have so many people in the field. And because it's an open door community, anyone can walk in, anyone can start a podcast. You get a camera, a mic.
I did.
Yeah, same here. I'm just a guy who bought a mic and camera. I've been investigating, and I've been in it for a while, but I have some expertise, if you would say. But ultimately, anyone can come in here. They can be a part of our culture. We want an inclusive culture with inclusivity and diversity. Causes strife and disarray and discourse. We want discourse, but we would like it in a more healthy manner. But the thing is, conversations and people are messy, right? Ultimately, how one team thinks about one thing is not going to be even the few people on that team have differing opinions about things. Me and Jim. When the camera's not rolling, we are bickering about how we do things, right? And maybe we should bicker on camera because it'll get more likes. But that's just So when people complain about discourse and drama, I'm like, but I'm for it. I love the drama. I love the discourse because you want to know why? That means we're inclusive and we are at least trying to understand each other because we are communicating with each other. And it fails 90% of the time, but that 10% it doesn't, magic happens,
So my team, Can't Temp Paranormal, we're a large team. We have like 18 members.
Yeah.
So and obviously we come from all different backgrounds. When we investigate, they investigate my way because that's just the way it works. And we actually go through orientation.
Well, it's not James 10 Paranormal. It's Ken 10 Paranormal. So yeah.
so yeah. I mean, we actually, obviously I'll let them have some freedom, but I mean, we have like there's rules you can't do. Like I don't allow provoking.
Yeah, and I think any room that you're in with people, this goes even beyond, paranormal. You kind of have to agree with everyone in the room. And if everyone agrees no provoking, great. And if that's like, if it's on your dime, on your time, you're kind of organizing it and you set the rules, or the house or organization sets the rule, right? Go for it, right? Good. Boundaries are good.
So provoking is interesting in itself, because here's how I explain provoking to my team. Because when you join my team, you got to go through orientation and training. You don't get to just join my team. So when I'm explaining provoking to people, or when I'm doing a paranormal 101 part, the way I explain provoking, I'm not going to go to Sean's house and start yelling at Sean.
Do it. Do it. I dare you. I double dog dare you.
I'm not going to go to Sean's house and start yelling at him and expect a positive reaction. So why would I do that to a spirit?
Can you come to my house? You start yelling at me, you're going to get the most positive experience of your life. I know, I get what you're saying. That's interesting, right? Because, and this is my philosophy, I act as if every spirit is human until I receive more information. So I treat every spirit I'm interacting with, well, yeah, let's see what he's saying. But our difference is what makes the content. Yeah, exactly. Our difference is what makes our content good. But I treat every spirit like I treat every person. Now, that being said, if a spirit starts acting up, as just like a person starts acting up, I will tell them, you need to slow your roll, guy. Like, I will shut you down. This is not how we do that. Like, I'm not going to goad them and be like, oh, push me. Like, I'm going to say, hey, you're saying some mean things right now. You need to relax. You need to stop. You need to understand that we're having an adult conversation. So there's this other thing people do, and it's not a bad thing, but people overly belittle ghosts. Like, they do it like they're constantly thanking them. And I'm like, that kind of works if you're talking with children. But, like if I'm a dude and I die and I show up and I haunt your house for the rest of eternity, right? And like you're like, can you touch that REM pod for me? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll show you. I'm a ghost. I'm cool. Boop, and you go, thank you so much. Can you do it? I'm like, oh my god, you're so annoying. But again, that's just my personal preference. I will never stop anyone from doing it. I just won't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I definitely agree. Like, treat spirits with respect and like they're human until there's a point. So we investigated. It's called the General Tillman House in Paducah. It was General Tillman's house. General Tillman was a Confederate general. He actually graduated.
Ooh. A Confederacy? Oh, no, sorry. We won the war, pal. Get out of here.
You won because we were tired of people dying.
Yeah, stop dying. Sorry. This became a Civil War debate. We're dropping paranormal stuff. Let's argue.
So, I mean, on that note, like we discussed earlier, I'm a proud veteran. So I served my country, and I'm glad the Yankees won, because we wouldn't be as great of a country otherwise. But I also understand the South's points, and it wasn't slavery. And if you said it is, you have to explain to me the original 13th Amendment, which was endorsed by Abraham Lincoln and passed with an 80% success rate. Only the South voted against it. Do you know what the original 13th Amendment was?
No, but I don't believe in losers.
The original 13th Amendment was to keep slavery legal in every state it was legal in.
Yeah, and I'm like, I've talked at length with a bunch of history people. There were definitely a contingent of Southerners who didn't care about slavery at all. But ultimately, there were a lot of people in the North pushing for slavery, and it was the straw that broke the back and caused everything. But there was the tension there, ultimately, of everything else going on.
Actually, from the South standpoint, and Kentucky was neither South or...
Kentucky was neutral. I love the story about Kentucky. When I went to Fort Duffield, I kind of got the insight, like, oh, the North got here, and like, they set up, and like, they set up so defensively, and the South was like, well, because it was this kind of state that was like, well, we don't culturally associate ourselves with the North or South, and and Abraham Lincoln factually was a vampire slayer. But no, I mean, it's a great story. And I jokingly belittle the South and the Confederacy because I can do that because I'm from the Empire State, so I'm allowed to.
That's just like anybody that wants to talk college basketball with me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I'm from Kentucky, and then from a baseball standpoint, my two favorite teams are St. Louis and the Yankees. So they're both the dominant in their field. So I like winners, but the straw that broke the South. What finally turned the South, what finally had to succeed was a taxation that increased the income tax on the South by 60%.
Well, I mean, that's what you get when you own slaves. You got to pay your fair share, right?
Only.
I'm sorry. I'm not educated nearly enough on the Civil War to actually have a legitimate debate with you. Obviously, we all agree slavery is wrong, and we're all happy the North won because that ultimately led to the ending of slavery. There were good people on both sides. There were bad people on both sides. That's what happens in a Civil War. But we're here talking about paranormal. Yep. Speaking of, go ahead.
So what the hell was we talking about?
I don't even remember. You were talking about General Tillman's house.
Oh yeah. So General Tillman, he was actually the good part of General Tillman is he actually went the railroad to Kentucky and Tennessee and Missouri. So that's why he was in Paducah. But he actually graduated from West Point with Robert E. Lee, and so he was actually. He actually got killed at Fort Donelson, but his house.
So your best generals were trained in New York, is what I'm hearing. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm messing with you now. Sorry.
Yeah, even Lee was trained at West Point.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that's where all of them came out of. So it's just funny, but
yeah, and and Kentucky was the home state of both presidents. It was home state of Jefferson Davis and Abraham Lincoln.
And that's, I mean, I'm sure you've talked to Ernie and Denise, but the Ditto House, Sherman stayed there for a bit. They have a Sherman desk that was from somewhere else. And I keep joking that I'm going to buy it off them for $20. And they're like, you need to add a couple more zeros to that, bud. And I'm like,
So anyway, General Tillman's house was interesting because when we got there, the spirits were really aggressive.
Yeah,
and the guy that's the curator or whatever, he's a member of the mechanized cavalry, says the Confederates mechanized cavalry, and he was saying that every time somebody came to investigate it, they were aggressive like that. So and then they got aggressive with me, and I was like, we can either talk or we can not talk, but you're not going to be rude to my people. So yeah.
That's a good way. I mean, I would have been rude, but that's me, and that's why I don't control, a bunch of people in an army. There's.
So we're actually over time, but I got a couple more questions I want to get in here. So.
Send them.
So one thing I usually like to do, I haven't done it in a while. I got these 2 lightning rounds I like to do.
Ooh.
But before I get to that, let's talk a little bit about paranormal equipment.
Okay, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about our equipment. So when I tell everybody, what you have to understand, 99% of the equipment that we have in the paranormal field was not designed for the paranormal field. I used to say
yes and no, yeah.
I used to say more than that, but there are people that actually design stuff.
That was the REM pod was probably the first paranormal equipment that was, I think, specifically designed. That was,
yeah. And now we have like the Apple Box and almost everything from everything that Rob and Ghost Scare makes is specifically for. But let's talk about a couple of things. We can start with the REM pod. That's a good one to start with. Yes, Spirit boxes were designed to communicate with aliens. Yes.
Yeah, true. See, Jim
So,
dropping the facts. You should have had Peter on the show.
so let's talk about a REM pod.
Yeah.
So now you can't say REM pod unless it's an actual REM pod made by the man.
Yeah, you can't call your device a REM pod. You can say it. Like, it's like saying this is a water bottle, right? Like, this is a plushie, you know? You can say, yeah. Well, yeah. You can't advertise something as a REM pod, which I know a lot of people were, like, mad about because they were advertising their things as a REM pod, but also the main thing was it took them, like, 10 years to do this, to trademark it, and I think that's the major cause, right? Of the cause of the strife, because I think most people agree that, like, if you create a product, you name it, and, like, you should maintain those rights. But because he took so long, that, like, all other legacy businesses came after, and they're like, okay, now I'm making money off of calling this thing a REM-POB, and now you're trying to steal my money from doing that. I mean, it's as simple as calling it, you know, a something else pod, or just you can't Ken Pod. I know Bill Bryan, Empty Casket. He makes a bunch of great devices. He calls his the RIP Pod. But they're all just EMF detectors. They're junior thermins. They're attached to LED lights that have different sensitivities. And it has a speaker and tonnage based off of what the disruption of the field. It's nothing crazy. I mean, anyone electrically savvy enough can kind of put together these devices.
You can actually go on YouTube and they have a video that tells you how to make them.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, you just call it it's essentially an EMF detector. You can call it a junior theremin. But honestly, make up your own cool name anyway. That's half the fun of making a device, right?
So yeah, I agree with that. And we kind of got sidetracked because I really didn't want to discuss all that. I'm like you. I have no problem with them copywriting. I
don't have any. I think I heard a lot of disagreement when it came out, but
there was, and like everything, eventually it went away.
Yeah.
So do you use a REM pod? Do you trust the REM pod? Is that one of your pieces of equipment?
I trust no single piece of equipment, right? And that's just I'm ultimately what I do trust is multiple things going off or redundant stuff going off, things intelligently responding. So, like, I trust a REM pod more than a lot of other devices. Like, and you know, you have to check things because we had a dead bell that was going off for like 2 hunts like crazy, and like, this is insane. And the next thing we know, like, we're seeing other people's REM pods, and it's like there are other people's dead bells that weren't going off at the same time, and we think our sensitivity, like, even though we have it at the smallest setting, we think, like, the sensitivity is just broken and it's, like, on the highest setting always. So you do have to kind of be that kind of investigator, too, when it comes to any device. So I like REM pods. REM pods are a go. I think they should be in your kit, whether... I prefer my RIP pod by Empty Casket Paranormal, not sponsored plug. But
that's what I have, actually.
It's a good. It is probably the most solid device that I have. That it won't go off unless, like, because there are times when, like, somebody pulls out their cell phone because they don't understand that, like, there's transmitting EMF and stuff like that, and you'll, like, then, you know, or normal REM pod will go off, but, like, small stuff like that doesn't seem to set off the RIP pod. I like devices that only go off when something's really getting good, you know. So things that are just flashing and going off, and I'm like, well, that's, you know, that could be anything setting it off then. Right?
I mean, and that's kind of the same way I'm with it. You know, it's a good tool to have. Am I ever going to use it as my only piece of equipment to say something's active? I don't really say haunted. I use the term active because if you say haunted, everybody assumes it's negative. So I say active. So. So I had Rob Rakowski. I may be pronouncing his name wrong, but you know the guy from Ghost Scare. I had him on here. He was my guest last season, and we were discussing paranormal equipment because why not? That's what he does. What it is that you discuss. So he's actually working on a REM pod type device without an antenna. because he says the antenna is the weak link in the device.
So yes and no, because it's a junior thermer. That's essentially what the antenna does. It projects an EMF field, and you have to disrupt the field. Now, if you internalize your device, you're making that field smaller, right? So, I mean, yeah, I've seen a bunch of REM pods that do not have an antenna. And so it's all just sensorized around the box. So I've seen those before, yeah. I mean, maybe I saw his. I don't, I've seen a bunch of them.
So the thing is, I'm like you. I understand the importance of the antenna. So maybe a better antenna, because I mean there are better antennas out there. So instead of just using the little cheap radio antenna. But anyway,
yeah.
So
yeah.
So let's talk about a device that's not as popular now as it was a couple years ago. But what do you think about the Epiphone?
Oh, like a sonophone or something like that?
It's designed to pick up vibrations like footsteps.
I've used like high quality, like big microphones. I don't know if I've used an Epiphone. Let me Google it real quick to make sure.
They were really popular for about 6 months, but then after that, they kind of fell off the thing because
I'm probably not spelling it right. I'm just getting guitars.
I don't know how to spell it. To be honest, the only reason I even have one is I was doing an investigation at an opera house 3 years ago, and the guy that we were investigating with me was like, "Do you have one of these?" And I'm like, "No." So he gave it to me. Like I said, it's basically looks pretty much like a music box, but it's got like lights on it, and it's designed to pick up vibrations, like footsteps.
Interesting. So it's kind of like a seismograph almost.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Only thing it does, I have one, but my equipment's way over there, so I'm not gonna get it. But I have one, and I wouldn't have bought it because it only does that one thing. But it's cool because nothing sets it off. If something sets this thing off, you probably have something. I've had it for 3 years, and I've only seen it go off twice.
Now, I mean, obviously sensitivity is always the question with these things because, like, I live near a train station, so, like, I can imagine, like, a train coming down the rails, shaking the ground and shaking houses. So you would have to just be aware of your environment, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you even if you drop this thing from I'm 5'10", so even if I drop it from with my arms extended, it won't go off. I mean, it has to be like a legit vibration. One time I saw this go off. Like we both discussed, we like when multiple equipment goes off. So the REM pod, and the Epiphone went off at the same time.
Yeah, I guess I just don't know what vibrations are setting it off because technically, according to string theory, everything is a vibration, right? Like sound and music is a vibration. Obviously, I would need to know more, and I like to understand how devices work exactly before I can.
Well, like I said, I wouldn't have bought this, but
if you got it for free,
Yeah, the most prominent time I ever saw it go off, I was investigating a haunted bed and breakfast in East Prairie, Missouri. So this place was already haunted, and another team decided it'd be a good idea to go to New York and bring back a haunted doll. And they brought back
stealing our haunted dolls out here. Just kidding. I hate dolls. Get every doll out of New York.
So they put this haunted doll into this old rocking chair.
Yeah.
One of the old fashioned rocking chairs. Well, nobody on my team would investigate the door, so I decided to do a solo with the door. And as I was having a conversation with the door, I was getting stuff, on my VM5, and so the Epiphone was sitting next to the rocking chair. The rocking chair starts moving, and the REM pod and the geophone goes off. And then on my VM5, I got I am behind you. And like I said, I'm the only one in this room.
Yeah.
But somebody, my team member Savannah was in the other. She was in the other room with the rest of the team. When something told her to come and take a picture. And I'll send all this to you later. So she takes a picture of me. I don't know if she's taking a picture. She has no idea what my conversation is going on. She takes a picture, and in the picture, you can see an apparition standing behind me.
Oh, that's crazy.
So yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So yeah. Okay. So let's talk about.
Yeah, lightning round. Keep it going.
Let's talk about SLS.
SLS, finicky. We caught the probably best piece of evidence we've ever did on an SLS, or I forget the difference between SLS and SLX. But we crafted one. Jim did. Jim's more technically savvy than I am, and he kind of put together. You know, he got the like the Xbox thing, put it on a thing, attach it to a tablet, runs the program, and we caught at Pennhurst in the gymnasium what appeared to be this. No lines, mind you. This was just an IR. A black mass form, head, shoulders, body, and then kind of like a tail almost, like, you know, like it fades off, there's no legs. It went from one end to the other end of the room, stopped, turned, looked at us, and then turned away. And because the SLS is such antiquated and like the files don't really work, we didn't have a camera pointed at it. So the best piece of evidence we ever caught, we didn't actually catch. We have the file and we've been trying to repair it here and there, but we can't figure it out. And that's why I hate the SLS. Also, I'm always time oriented, and the way we have it, it takes a while to kind of break out and set up. So I'm like, man, leave it. But you know.
So the original SLS, to me, I think was maybe too sensitive because I saw a pile of clothes set it off to show a stick figure. Yeah. So I actually have the newer one. The SLX or whatever it's called, the version 1.5. So, and it's a lot better. We went and investigated a hotel in Eastern Kentucky, and what's interesting is in this hotel, just one room was active, but it had 5 people disappear. 5 people was either killed, committed suicide, or just disappeared from this one room.
Wow.
So anyway, we went there and we took everything we was using. The first thing that was surprising about this room is this is the only place I've ever seen my cat boys actually do something useful. So we go into the room and, you know, it's your normal hotel room. It's got the long, flat dresser.
Yeah.
So just to be funny, more than anything, I sat the cat boys on the dresser, and something took one of the cat boys, not both of them, just one of them, and pushes it all the way down the dresser.
Wow.
So
yeah, I always forget I even have cat balls. So when like a cat ball starts going off, I'm like, oh my god, I forget that even exists. Half the time I leave my cat balls like in the building. So you know.
So we went from there. For there, we asked whoever we was talking to do it again, and the response was I can't. So we moved the cat balls from the dresser to the little dinette table you got, you know, the little table, 2 chair. So we put them there, and we asked them. So at that point, we set up the SLS camera and everything, and we asked them if they can move the balls, if they can move them again, and they responded, "I can't again." So
Jim wants me to show you some footage real quick.
Okay.
So let me pull it up. I think I got to pull it up, share screen YouTube for you. So My Haunted Manor, they're kind of a TV show / YouTube show out of Columbia, Pennsylvania. Samuel Miller Mansion. They rent it out. They have cameras going everywhere. And so let me pull up the actual episode. Videos. So we were actually here with Paranormal Theory. So present, share screen, entire screen. Here we go. Share. All right. So let's kind of go hide. All right. So, right, you got Jim right here. The camera you're looking at is a. Also, go follow My Haunted Manor. You know, this is their footage, but we are doing the investigation. This is their house camera, pointed IR, pointed, you know, over here. Look at this light over here. Trey Bader, good guy. Oh.
So yeah,
It was gonna show you a bit more, but they invert the image, but it's fine. But go watch that video. I can probably find the still real quick. So there's a hyper close up of it. Here's the inverse image. Yeah, that's crazy, right?
yeah, that is crazy.
Anyway. Oh, unshare. Bring it down, bring it down, bring it down.
So, yeah. All right, let's talk about ITC devices, whether it's your Oculus or your
I'm
Periscope.
showing you a full body apparition over here, Kent, and you have nothing to say about it? Tell me that wasn't amazing.
Did you not see my face, Sean?
I did. It's all about, I need your opinion out there. I need them to know.
So my opinion is that was a good catch. That was a hell of a
Thank you.
So let's talk ITCs. So whether you're talking about the Oculus or the
ITC?
Periscope,
Yeah.
or the Paratech VM5 or whatever. What's your take on those devices?
I like the Oculus. That's the only one we have, the only one to use. It's good, I think, like any device, you need the intelligence response to it. It needs to be making sense to what you're asking, and other things need to be happening. I like it. It's a good device. There are probably other versions of it, but we just use the Oculus because Ghost Stop, good guys over there. We actually have an affiliate link with them, typically on all of our websites or all of our videos. But they're good guys.
Guess what? We're finally on Get Hunted.
We're live on Get Haunted. Finally, we outwaited them. Whatever news you all saw, whatever that was nothing. Because right now, it's Sean and Kent going at it. I don't care if they just bought the Queen Anne what's going on right here on this show is way more important than whatever Rob and Sarah have planned.
So,
Ugh.
yeah, you missed the apparition on video. So
Yeah, they missed the good stuff, so that's what you get for not watching the YouTube. We're not going back to show you. We showed a full body apparition that me and Jim caught. None of you get to see it now. None of you.
So I use, yeah. I do not use the Ovilus because I'm a poor boy from a poor family.
They are, yeah.
So I do have a Paratech VM5, which they're finally upgrading. I love my Paratech. I've been using it now for 3 years. But again, I like it when I get matching responses with other equipment.
Yeah,
So
and that's the key, and I'll hammer that home till the day I die. You need redundancy, you know.
So we, like I mentioned earlier, on my birthday this year, which is January 19th, which just so you know, Sean, that's also Robert E. Lee's birthday.
I mean, sharing a birthday with a loser is My birthday is the death day of George Washington. So, you know.
I also share my birthday with Dolly Parton and Janis Joplin.
It's a bit of a crowded room.
Anyway, so for my birthday this year, we went to the Monroe House.
Yeah,
so that's where I spent my birthday. So my birthday is actually January 19th. So we began the investigation on January 18th because that's a Saturday. So at midnight, when it officially became my birthday, I went down to the basement, which is allegedly that's where the malicious spirit, the demon spirit, whatever, lives. So that's why I went down. I did a solo there for my birthday. Yeah. So I'm down in the basement by myself, and again, we got video going. I got the Apple box and I got the Paratech VM5. And we're going, and so I start asking the spirit questions. And the first question I ask it is if it died on the property. And the Apple box goes off and says yes. So the next question I ask is if it died in the house. Because with the Monroe House, that's an important question because I really don't know if the activity comes from the property or the house. So I asked it if it died in the house. And the response was again yes. So then I asked it. I was like, okay. So can I find out how you died? And the response was yes. So I was like, okay. Were you killed by a gun? Were you shot? And the response I got was no.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. That kind of back and forth. Very timed. It's like you're almost having a conversation, and you're sitting there and going, "We got something."
It gets better. So then I was like, "Okay, were you physically killed? Were you strangled, beat to death?" And the response I got was no. So at this point, this is exactly what I said. You can go back and watch a video. So my
Jim's birthday is with Neil Diamond. That might beat us. Yeah.
Yeah. So I asked, I was like, and this is exactly what I said. Like I said, you go back and watch the video full transparency. So I was like, okay. I was like, I'm a little bit confused now. You said you died in the house. I said yes again. And I was like, but you didn't die by gun or by physical force. And it said yes. I was like, so can you tell me how you died? The VM5 goes off and it says fire.
Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah.
And
that's interesting.
Exactly. Of course, the Monroe house is known to be burnt down multiple times. But I didn't mention that. Nobody mentioned that. That was just a response from the spirit. So that's why I like my VM5. So, okay.
Yeah, it sounds like a great device. I mean, Jim has this habit of like squirrel buying like paranormal devices when he gets antsy. He's like, I want it, and just buy it, and I'm like, that's expensive. But yeah, no, I love my Ovilus. It's good.
So we do. I do a lot of joint investigations with other teams. Not that I have to, because my team's big enough. We can do whatever we want to. But
Yeah.
I like to help other teams. I like the para unity.
Para unity, boo. No, I'm here for para conflict.
So one of the teams that we one of the teams that we collaborate with a lot, because they're actually from like 20 minutes away from us. They use the Ovilus. So what's cool is a lot of times in our investigation we have an Ovilus, we have the Paratech VM5, and then we also have a Parascript, because one of my team members.
Yeah.
One of my team members have a Periscope, so sometimes we have all three. So it's really cool when they intertwine.
Yeah, and it's interesting because a lot of the times, especially in like very popular or very active locations, you might have multiple spirits trying to communicate, and you don't want them all fighting over one device, because then it sounds like nonsense. And
Right.
you're like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm asking a question, and I'm
random.
getting and it feels random, and you're like, having more ways to communicate, and then like you'll see the spirits will kind of like set up their own territory and start using one or the other device.
Yeah, that's just like, so as we discussed earlier. I'm a sensitive, medium, clairvoyant, whatever term you want to use. I personally use medium, so but whatever term you want to use. So that happens to me personally a lot. Is I get overwhelmed by a lot of them trying to talk to me at one time.
Oh, so you're probably a lot more like empathetic.
Empathetic,
You're attracting the energies and you're feeling it, and it's kind of like internalizing. Yeah. I have a friend who's like that. Yep.
So, for example, we just a couple months ago, and we're going back this month. We went to the Urine Shrine in Bristol, Tennessee, and so we were investigating outside the Witches Circle. And we were investigating with Jimmy Ricker, who I mentioned. Jimmy's a good friend of mine, where they were doing the Estes method, and Jimmy decided that I needed to be the one with the headphones, which is not a safe place for Kent. That is not Kent's safe place. So they but we're with a group, and Jimmy's like, Kent's going to put on the headphones and talk to the. I'm not going to say no, because I'm not going to.
Yeah.
So I put on the headphones, and as soon as I put on the headphones, I got overwhelmed by multiple spirits. It actually drained me. They actually had to take me back, and I had to
Get
recenter.
you grounded. Yep. Centered, grounded.
Yep. So
very important. if you're like new to paranormal investigations and you're like you're feeling overwhelmed, exit the building, get somebody to go with you. Exit the building and just take 5, 10, 20 minutes, whatever you need. Just getting outside, open air, on the ground. If you need to lay down, and just all that energy just kind of falls off.
All right, so let's move away from equipment. I think we pretty well discussed all the big ones right now.
Yeah.
So let's discuss. We were talking about being grounded, being centered. Let's talk about protection.
Yes.
Do you go into your investigation with protection?
Yes and no. So there are many people have a lot of ways they say, like, this is how I protect myself. Mine and Jim's way of kind of protecting ourselves, and Jim's is maybe slightly more different, but mine is very intention based. Like, I'm not gonna let something harass or,
I'm friends with Brandon Avis now.
Who?
Planet Discoveries.
Never watched the show. Never heard of him. You know who you're friends with? You're friends with Paranormal Nut. You should be telling people that.
Well, you're on my show. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. You tell people that, right? Yeah, like Jim wears his crucifix. Jim seems a bit more maybe religious protections, and I know we have a bit more religious members in our group as well. I am very intention based. I think nothing can have power over you unless you grant it.
You
So
have to
I'm, yeah, and so I know how to put that shield up mentally and take it down and put it up, and so I feel as though I can detach things from me very easily. So that's kind of how I see it. I don't need a ritual per se. Me and Jim, we kind of, at the end of the hunt, we'll be like, nothing can follow us home, but even just mentally thinking that is as good as saying it. Saying it helps. Kind of almost for those of you who might not be as, who's used to this kind of stuff, mentally saying it might help that mental behind it. But, yeah. So, for me, it's all intention based.
So, okay, so most of my viewers, most of my usual viewers know this, but for the ones that's not usual, because obviously I got some new ones on tonight. I'm also a very educated investigator. I have a parapsychology degree from West Georgia University. I have two theological degrees from Louisville Bible College, and I'm a trained demonologist under Bishop Long in the Old Catholic Church.
Nice.
So I'm very educated. So is that necessary? Definitely not.
No.
I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. I'm not.
No, I think you're more formally trained, and those trainings, every different way works for different people, and you just have been exposed to different more ways than most people. But damn, like Jim's saying, that's a lot. That's an impressive record. You should start your show like that. I'm Ken Den Paranormal. I don't know what you'd call the parapsychiatrist, demonologist, and what was this third one?
Bible scholar.
And Bible scholar. You should lead. That should be part of your intro. You need to work on your intro and or maybe have an intro that plays it. Get a narrator voice like Ken Den Paranormal, demonologist, Bible's. Exactly. Get someone to do something like that. I mean, your music's pretty dope, and I don't change the music. I like it, but that kind of.
The name of that song is Ghostbusters Rock.
Oh, dope. I like it.
That education was important to me because growing up, I didn't have much support.
Yeah.
With my gifts and stuff. I actually, when I was 12 or 13, is when I decided to start actually learning to use my gift and actually getting into investigating. I started checking out every book in the Paducah Public Library and the Buchanan County school system I could. I checked out all the Warren's books.
Yeah.
I actually got called down to the principal's office. I don't know what they were thinking, but they're like, should we be worried about you because you're studying parapsychology? I'm like, what?
It's just, and that's the kind of day and age, right? I'm not trying to date you or anything, but back in the day when there wasn't that much information floating around, no one knew what to think, right? No one had any preconceived notions. The closest thing they had was, well, this is witchcraft, or this is, that's the closest thing they knew about. This day and age, me and Jim are lucky enough to grow up with kind of the veterans, and I was actually just, I have a podcast airing episode, pre-recorded one, at 9 o'clock tonight with psychic medium Katie Manning Hilton. She's great. So veterans like you, Rob, Sarah, and obviously Ed and Lorraine, obviously they kind of set everything. But then obviously you get the TAPS team, you get all those people who kind of paved the way and made things a lot more accessible. Because I'll tell you this, Ken, I don't read. So I would have never picked up a book. I listen to my audiobooks when I drive, but back in the day, I would have never picked up a book on hauntings and and I never would have gone through it. And so that's why
you're not gonna read my book. I'm writing my first book.
Is it gonna be available to listen to?
Absolutely.
I done, and Jim will do it too. I'm putting him on the docket for that. We had Brian Perone, right?
I put you guys on the docket to write my introduction.
Oh, we'll do that. I'll write your introduction. I'm for that.
Appreciate it.
I love that stuff. We had Brian Perone, right? You know Brian doing the Get Haunted series.
Yep.
We had him on the podcast talking about his books and stuff. And Jim, while we're on the podcast, like, and I just bought every book you ever wrote. I'm like, Jim, you don't have to do that. And he's like, I did. I'm like, yeah.
He was just on mine a couple of this season, so he was just on American. And I get that though, because like when somebody's coming on my show, if I don't know them, I research them. Like, so let's take Aaron G. Thompson for example. You know, me and Aaron G. have became good friends now. But when he came on my show, I didn't know anything about Aaron G. Thompson except for he was on 28 Days Haunted.
Yeah.
That was all I knew about him. So I binge watched the whole season of 28 Days Haunted in one night, the night before he's going to be on my show.
Yeah. I'm the worst. I don't know anyone. Impulse control.
But the thing is, I actually that goes back to I talk about parapsychology. I mean, pop culture. I actually feel bad for Aaron because he's only known. Most people only know him because of 28 Days Haunted, and he's actually a real investigator. He's been investigating for 25 years. You know, he's the real deal.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, back to the question about protection. So, I'm a little bit old school because of my abilities, and I go in, I say a prayer of protection that was taught to me during my demonology training, and I have a cross necklace. It's a skull.
Yeah, your crucifix. Yep.
Yeah, and I wear it. Now, with that being said, if I'm in an investigation and I think my protection is stopping the spirits from talking to me, I will remove it. But I do always do a, like you said, I do always do a detachment prayer before I leave. You know, I tell them they can't come with me. They have to go wherever they're supposed to go. So I do that. Let's do this speed round real fast to get you off.
All right.
So the first speed round, we're going to talk about the different kinds of hauntings, the different kinds of spirits.
Yeah. Okay.
And you tell me what your opinion of them are. If you've experienced it, you can tell me a story. You follow this? All right. So let's start out with residual hauntings. And what's your take on a residual haunting?
Yeah, residual haunting is very interesting. I think energy does get trapped. It gets the world remembers, the buildings remember, and the stone, the water, all that stuff remembers. And I think probably 20 or 30% of things I've interacted with probably have been residual. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the next kind is probably everybody's favorite kind, an intelligent haunting.
Intelligent haunting is interesting, right? Because there's a breakdown. If we're saying haunting, we are automatically assuming ghost, which means human spirit. So they're the best kind, right? I want to talk with somebody who has their capacities, or at least enough of them to have a conversation. And there have been so many times when you're just sitting there and with your devices, it's just, you are legit just talking to a person. Or like you have your EVP, you're doing that, you play it back, and it's just a conversation. And it's amazing. I love it. So I'd probably say that's probably another I would call that 40% of what I normally run into.
So how about poltergeist activity?
So I'm in the camp that poltergeists aren't, I think there are a section of poltergeists who are in fact just the individual, and it's their psychic expression lashing out because maybe they're repressing it or they don't know how to control it, and it's kind of warping their perceptions, but also actually physically interacting with the environment. But I do think intelligent hauntings can be a poltergeist if they are ability to move and manipulate stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, those are both like pretty common theories out there.
We had Jim had a ball move at the Shanley. I don't know if you've ever been to haunted Shanley. And yeah, it's German. You're supposed to put a device on the soccer ball, and the ghost knocks the device off the soccer ball. Kind of like all the little things a house gives you, right? That says like these are the things that you can do, and usually the spirits know what's going on. Jim didn't even have the device on the ball, and the soccer ball is in the room, and you see it. He's doing his solo. Every device is going off left and right, and just the ball rolls. It doesn't like fully roll, like as if like the ground was sloped. It just takes like a full like 90-degree pivot to where like the next face of the soccer ball. And Jim's sitting there, he's like, did that ball just move? And it's great. It's a great clip. It's actually part of our intro. Yeah. So that's our our poltergeist story, if you will. But
so yeah, that's what we have when we talk about poltergeist. That's what we have to still do. We still have to have a definition for poltergeist because, like you said, it could just still be. It could definitely be the energy. It could just be an intelligent spirit. Yeah. That's how they.
Or it can lean to something darker, which a lot of people. If I see something get knocked over, my first thought isn't like demon or something like that. My first thoughts are intelligent haunting. Generally, I'll know if I'm with someone who's psychically enough, or like that things happen around them that it might be them. I typically don't go on too many hunts with people like that, though. Not like I avoid them. There are few and far between, right? So
you need to go on hunting with me.
Maybe. So like Jim gets poked and like pushed a lot. I don't have somebody that like things get knocked over around a lot. Dog, nice dog.
My dog. He's actually my therapy dog. He can actually detect when I'm having a seizure.
Ooh, that's good. Hey, listen, my dog is he's in the other room because I don't bring him in during podcasts. But he shepherds me around. He makes sure I'm not lazy. If I sit in one like room too long, he'll be like, "You should probably get up and do something." And he'll like get up in my face and like move. You need to move. You need to move. But
well, he's not usually with me, but he thinks he has to be. He thinks he has to be wherever I'm at. So like when I go on an investigation, he actually sits on the back of my chair and looks out the window until I come home.
Oh, that's adorable. But more types of ghosts. Give them to me.
So, malicious spirits.
I mean, malicious spirits. So, do you mean inhuman, or do you just mean like a dick human?
Human, because we're getting ready to go to non-human. So
yeah. So, I mean, if you are like, I was just at the Pointed Crow, and we were talking with these two girl spirits, and maybe there was a third guardian one there as well. And like I was doing it with Mike over at Two Brothers Extreme, and they're probably one of the most insane SS sessions. I would show you clips, but it hasn't been released yet, and it's coming out soon. But it's crazy. And then they're like, all of a sudden they're like, "Oh no, he's coming, he's here," and like apparently this one spirit's like harassing these little children and like preventing them from talking to us. I was fuming mad. I'm like, I'm having the best time of my life hanging out with these ghosts, and this spirit just comes in and ruins it. And I literally get up and I like take my camera. I go, because we thought the name was Frank or Charlie. We were debating between Frank and Charlie, and we're like, Frank, Charlie, whoever it is, you need to stop right now. You are harassing these people. They just want to hang out and talk with people. You have no right to do this. I was unnaturally mad about this ghost, and after that, he was quiet, and we got to talk to a lot of the other spirits that, roam around.
Right. So let's talk. The next one is inhuman spirits, whether it's
inhuman spirits. Yep.
Whether it's elemental or just any other inhuman spirit.
So inhuman spirit, for anyone not anything that does not have a human soul, I think is the Catholic definition. So that could mean demon. It could mean we can get into aliens too, but you could talk about like elementals, or like maybe cryptids could be classified. Certain cryptids could be classified. There's one that I think has been following around me and Jim, and we think it's like a ghost deer. We're not sure if it's a guardian spirit. Jim, if you haven't watched our video on Jim's personal experience, you should do that. His childhood experience, it's crazy. I'm not going to tell the story because I wouldn't do it justice. But we were at Gettysburg. We saw what we thought was a full flesh and body deer. We're driving. We're trying to go somewhere. Like I think we're driving to Sachs Bridge. We're passing the battlefield, and we see a deer on one side of the fence. and it takes a step between like behind a tree, but the fence is still solid right there. And as we pass, it's just not there anymore. Like you can't see, like, and the fence is see through. It's like chicken wire, so you can see through it. There's no, and like that was not. We got out of the car and started looking. There was no deer, and we're like, how? So then when I was coming home from Mid Orange, 3 a.m. I have a 2-hour drive. I am probably like about to fall asleep, and as I'm leaving, like I see only half, but I see half of a translucent deer gallop across the street. And in that moment I go, whether that was a sign from God, whether that was a guardian angel, whether that was something else, or I'm hallucinating, I need to pull over and I need to like take a 10, 20, 30, I think I ended up sleeping for like an hour nap before I can actually drive home, because I'm like, yeah, no, okay. Whatever powers that be just showed me that I am not fit to travel home right now. So I think we have like a little ghost deer that's following us around, maybe a spirit guide, something like that. So in Human Spirits, there's a lot of range. It literally fills the whole of everything that's not human. So, yeah.
So my animal ghost story, because I never really knew how I felt about animal ghosts, because we were investigating a place in Metropolis, Illinois. It was a mansion, and they had a parakeet, a parrot. It was a parrot. It was their pet parrot or whatever. It just died like 4 months earlier. Yeah. It was 100 years old, and we actually captured on camera on our DVR camera the parrot flying.
Yeah.
So that was cool. All right, last round. This one will be fast. Are you ready?
All right.
We're going to discuss different kinds of places to investigate.
Oh, you left out my favorite haunting, though.
So are you ready?
Well, you left out. I want to say this real quick, because you left out my favorite type of haunting.
Sure. What's that?
Time slipping. I'm very big. I believe that a lot of the times that we're talking to people who are living in the past while we are alive in the future, and whatever is happening is an exchange that is happening for them in real time and for us in real time. So I think that happens a lot at like battlefields. I don't think it's necessarily the souls that are lingering, right? Because I do, I generally come from a religious background. I wouldn't say I'm super religious. I think most, if not 99, like if not all, souls end up where they're supposed to go. So I think a lot of hauntings are, in fact, some form of time slippage. So I'll say that.
That's interesting. I'm going to start looking at that.
Well, we've been to a couple places where they've had a big gym sighting, which is very funny because we have a big gym. And it's like, are people seeing us while we're ghost hunting? And we're like, these are records from like hundreds of years ago. Oh, this place has seen a big Jim who's been like known to wander around, and he's like supposed to be like 6'3" and all this stuff. And I'm like, that sounds exactly like Jim. So I'm like, what's going on? Are we the ghosts? Were we the ghosts the entire time?
I mean, it's a good theory. I like it. That's kind of like that's one of the reasons I do this. It's because sometimes people will throw out stuff that I'm like, I like that. Like I had a guess last year. Most people always said that the residual hauntings are the most common, and and I had a guess last year that said actually maybe intelligent hauntings are the most common, because with intelligent hauntings we actually know they're there. So I like new theories. So
and it reconciles a lot of things, especially with a lot of people say once your soul's in heaven you don't come back and things like that. And from what I've seen, I'm definitely communicating with someone, and I don't think that many souls are stuck here trapped on Earth. If that's kind of my So
yeah, I mean I'm not going to get into the religious aspect because I could talk about that forever.
Yeah, I mean, you are a Bible scholar, so.
But I will tell this story because it's kind of funny. So, not funny, funny, interesting. But when I was at Smoky Mountain Terror, I was walking around interacting with everybody. I met the actress that was on the Blur Ridge project.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
So I was talking to her. We were just having a conversation. And she was talking to me about paranormal investigating stuff, and she saw my born again tattoo.
Yeah.
And she's like, let me get this right. You're a Christian, but you're a paranormal investigator. I'm like, yes. She's like,
Yeah.
does that work? She's like, does that work for you? I'm like, it works for me. I'm like, and she's like, how does that work? I'm like, okay. I was like, to be honest, I believe my abilities are given to me from God to be used the way I use them. So that's my story. That's my religious story. So
Yeah.
okay.
I mean,
So, but that's like these people who try to be the paranormal investigation is the work of the devil or whatever. They try to use Ephesians and they try to use the King James version, and the King James version says, "Do not talk to the dead. Do not talk to the living dead, because you do not know if they're good or evil." But we have to understand two things about that. First of all, the King James version is a paraphrased version of the Bible, so that means
yeah, it's been edited. It's been
it's just how they. It's just how they thought it sounded. The other thing we have to understand, the King James version was written to sound like Shakespeare, so it wasn't true to the word. So the actual Hebrew Latin version says, and you'll notice a big difference. What the actual Latin version says is, do not talk to the living dead unless you are trained or educated, because you do not know if they're good or evil.
yeah.
So
Yeah. And we are kind of getting to that point where it's a lot more socially acceptable, and more often than not, a lot of the investigators I've talked to come from some sort of religious background, but
yeah. So okay, I'm off my religious kick now.
yeah, that's good.
So
we got it out. We put it out there. Yeah, Jim's on Facebook now. I think we're wrapping up here though.
Yeah. So let's talk about different kinds of locations. So let's start out with cemeteries. Have you investigated them? Do you investigate them? What's your theory about investigating them?
I haven't. I don't have any personal strong feelings against it. I don't think inherently cemeteries are haunted. I think if you're going to a cemetery and you're going to look for something, that kind of turns a light on for them and goes, like, wherever they are, they can go, oh, someone wants to talk to me. Someone wants to commune with me. So that's what attracts their attention. So it's kind of like, you're meeting them on their playing field. So that's just, I'm not a bit... Jim's done it. I might do it with some people, but it's not where I would want to go. I kind of got into paranormal because I love history and I love buildings. I love cool old buildings. So, anyway, cemeteries are kind of... I've been to the one in Kentucky, the cave, whatever one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, very fancy cemetery.
So I'm kind of with you, and I guess I kind of have a different theory about cemeteries than most paranormal people. I'm not going to tell somebody not to do it, but I'm not a cemetery person, because it's kind of like you were saying. So to me, if a spirit's still here, they're going to be somewhere where they're attached to. There's no attachment to a cemetery. They didn't live there. They didn't die there. So why would they be there? Now, we have a cemetery down here where I'm at that I do investigate, but before it was a cemetery, it was a Civil War basic training camp. And 5,000 soldiers died of meningitis, smallpox, and everything else before they even went to battle. So there's that. But yeah, so okay, next one. Let's talk about hospitals, and I'm not talking about asylums. I'm just talking about a hospital.
Yeah, I think I haven't investigated a hospital. I've heard all the stories. My brother used to work at a hospital. I've talked to nurses. I don't think things stay in hospitals. I think things, obviously when people pass and they're confused, they don't know what's going on. They're there for a while before they kind of get it together or something helps them go on. But yeah, I just think being a place with that much, death occurring and life, that like you have the exchanging and the crossing of souls there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. There's too much energy there. There has to be something. Like you said, most hospitals have seen birth and they've seen death. So now we'll go to asylums. What do you think about an asylum?
I mean, I love a good asylum. Here's the thing. I talked to a lot of UK investigators and stuff like that. Our asylums are like their castles, right? They are like really want to go here. They want to check out our asylums. We really want to go there and check out their castles. But they're a staple of the American paranormal scene. Obviously, depending on, it's a dark chapter in American history where you had people who wanted to help people there, but then you had a lot of people who wanted to take advantage of people that they could take advantage of, and just a general misunderstanding that was present in the medical fields at the time. All that combined, you just get this cocktail of history, paranormal, and life and death, and it just kind of solidifies into the perfect ghost story, right? And I think those stories have power, and so that kind of translates into this kind of idea that like entities are still there and stuff like that.
So I've done a lot of asylums, obviously. I just came back from the place we were talking about earlier. I just came back from Waverly Hills, which is, I know
that's what we'll go do. Well, we'll get into the Ditto House, but then we'll go to Waverly Hills when I come down.
They're 30 minutes away from each other, so we can.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Denise actually got on to me when I was at Waverly Hills. She actually texted me while I was there. She's like, "You're 32 minutes away.
Just drive over." Yeah.
But so the most interesting part of Waverly Hills is actually the first story. You hear stories about the fifth floor, or whatever, but the first floor you have the body chute, you have the electric shock therapy room, and you have the morgue. That's all you really need.
Yeah, that's a great theory. If you look into that, me and Jim talk about it all the time, that JFK's sister may have been secretly interned in Penhurst.
I've actually heard that theory. I'm actually a big JFK person. Like I like all.
Oh, what's your theory? What do you think happened? Magic bullet? What do you think?
It wasn't no damn magic bullet. It was a conspiracy. I'm going to say probably the government.
Yeah. I hear a lot of theories going around now that it was one of his... So the two I'm kind of debating. One, it was his driver, because there's like a clip of like a second of a footage that got released that looks like the driver's about to turn around and it looks like he's about to do something.
That would make sense.
But also, what I think might be the most probable is that obviously Lee Harvey Oswald takes a shot, and then a jumpy, nervous secret service agent, happy figure trigger, spins to look around in what goes on, and then accidentally shoots him. And I think that's like, I mean, everyone loves the conspiracy, and I do think like ultimately, even if that's what happened, a lot of people were I think Lee Harvey Oswald had help. But that's my kind of thought process.
Just a patsy. He's just a patsy.
Well, yeah, I think he is a patsy that, like, obviously they put him there, right? Because they knew where he was. They were tracking him from Cuba. Right. They were tracking him from, like, Russia. Why you know about this guy? Like, anyway, sorry. We're over our time already, and we're about to get into JFK. Like, this is going off the rails.
So, I'm going to end this discussion with this, and we'll discuss it some other time. So here's the one piece of evidence that the government cannot, that they try to cover up so much, but there's no way they cover it. So Kennedy's brain disappeared.
Yeah, that was weird, and you're not allowed to exhume the body, even though I don't think the brain would be left at this point, but still.
Yeah. So the brain disappeared. Only 2 people had access to Kennedy's body at that time: his vice president and his doctor.
Yeah.
So anyway, asylums. Yeah. So how about a jail? Not a prison. That's a different thing. Let's just talk about a jail.
Yeah, I haven't. I've been to. Oh, have I? No, I don't think I've been to a prison or a jail. I tried to get into a county jail at one point. Didn't work. Just couldn't get everything settled. So I mean, yeah, I mean a lot of these jails, especially the old time ones, like that's where they had them, and it's like, okay, we're gonna take you out back to this tree, right? And just that stripping of freedom, that emotional damage, and you're just sitting in the same spot stewing, like, yeah, that could definitely attach you to that area, yeah.
Is the water turning the frogs gay?
Oh, I mean, listen, I'm just saying, Alex Jones said some things, but also, he said some things. Sorry.
So, where apparently the squirrels in California are turning into carnivores. Like
good.
They're eating. So
good for them.
So prisons, I've investigated a few, but what's always surprised me about prisons, and I'm talking about, I've been to like Brushy Mountain and like the big ones. So everybody always assumes like the whole.
Mid Orange correction. Mid Orange was a correctional facility, which is different. A prison, which is different than a jail, but yeah, Mid Orange would be my incarceration place. But yeah,
I've never been to Mid Orange, just on my list. So the place that I've always got the most activity was not death row or not the hole.
Oh yeah,
I've always got the most activity in the dining room.
Same thing in Mid Orange. Mid Orange, they have because it's where a lot of people meet, and it's probably the only place where they're generating positive memories, right? That and maybe the rec yard, right?
Right.
So that's interesting. That's good thought. Like you have your highest and your lowest point, and it's funny because a lot of the jail cells typically aren't where like the stuff happens, and it's kind of like that's their medium, right? And so they don't get attached to their medium; they get attached to their high or their low. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of exactly what you said. That's my theory about that. The first time I did it, I was kind of like surprised. I'm like, why would they be here? But then, like, the more I thought about it, like you just said, that's actually where they got to interact. That's where they. So okay, so I guess we're actually way over time. So we'll go ahead and end.
Yep.
But tell everybody how to find you guys. All that fun stuff.
Paranormal Nut Podcast is YouTube. You can find us there, Paranormal Nut Podcast. Facebook is just Paranormal Nut. TikTok, Paranormal Nut Podcast. Instagram, all that stuff. We actually have a video that's was supposed to be there for the airing, but I think we just scheduled it, so we didn't premiere it. At 9 o'clock with our interview with psychic medium Katie Manning. She's amazing. Essentially my second mom growing up. Got me into the paranormal. Check that out. Like, subscribe, do all the things for Kent, do all the things for me. And you might see us at a Paranormal Expo next year. Ooh.
I'm holding you to it.
All right.
All right. Thank you for being on. I'll have you guys back on. And next time I have you on, both of you.
Yeah, Jim obviously had to take care of the baby, so he could write in, but he's got a kid, so.
Yeah, right. I have 4. So I understand. Mine are all grown now. My baby's actually a sophomore in high school. She's getting ready to have her Sweet 16 party. So,
Jim's in. He said he's in. Let's go for the Paranormal Expo and the interview. Let's do it.
I want to remind anybody that's thinking about dating my daughter, Malachi. I'm a paranormal investigator. I know where to hide your body.
That's a good way to end the show, I guess. All right.
All right.
Why are you bringing that up when Jim's writing? What are you trying to imply?
So,
Yeah.
thank you for being on the show, and everybody else. Next week, my guest will be Dave Giuliano. Is that how you pronounce his name? From Ghost Store and all that stuff. He will be our guest next week. I'm excited about that. And just something to throw out there. I think Sean's the only person who knows it. I will be doing more Paracons and stuff in the future because I now have an agent. So
Yeah. That's what you say. Talk to how have my people contact your people.
my people got that. All right. Love you guys, and we will see you all next week.